Hi everyone, this is Kyle with GameDbait. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a very simple port forwarding. And what port forwarding is, it allows you to open up your own server. What it allows is for a program from somebody else's computer to go into your computer and use your program. Whichever port you forward and is projecting something like a Minecraft server or a Gmod server, it allows them to connect. So you have to have your server open for this to actually work. But this is what you need. It's very simple. You go into command prompt and you just have to search for this. It's not that hard to find on any computer. Even Windows 8 has it. You just have to search for it. And you type in ipconfig. It's right here, ipconfig. You don't have to spell it any other way. You don't have to type anything else in, and this will pop up. Now what you want is IPv4 address. You write this down because you can't. Well, you can do find. But anyway, you just need to write this number down. Not any of the other ones. The other ones don't matter. And you take this number and you go into whatever your router is. So mine is 192.168.0.1. You're gonna have to look into yours. Mine's an Eris. Yours might be different. You most likely have a generic password, which might be password. Mine is password. I don't know why. I'm staying with a friend right now, but all you have to do is, if you want Minecraft, you type in this number. And you put the number that I told you to copy into the private IP address. So if I click add, this is what mine looks like. Yours will probably look different. Yours might actually be a lot easier to find, because mine is not in any of these. Mine is in firewall. So I had to look for this for a long time to find it. But these work. All of these work. And the reason there's two different numbers here, let me cancel this. The reason this one ends in 4 and this one ends in 2 is this is also set up for my friend. I set up his computer to run as a server also because he wanted to be able to use Gmod on his computer without me being home. So I set it up for both. So he couldn't use it because he didn't want to after a while, so I just reset it up for me. Because you can only have the port set up once. This cannot be for two different things. So if I go to add and I try to add any of these ports again, it'll say invalid port. So you can only have these set up for one at a time. So I have 2 of them for him, 2 of them for me. If he ever wants to run another server, I'm going to just switch this to a 2 or this to a 4. So I know that's a little bit confusing, but you don't need to do that unless you're going to set up multiple computers hooked up to the router in different ways to do servers. So description, test, inbound port, 11111, You want to set this to both, and then you type in whatever your address is. So 192.168.0.4. That's mine. And then you want this number to be the same as this one. And I'm going to add virtual server. Now what it's going to do is it's going to pop up with another one, and there it is. So if I don't want to keep this open, obviously, but now you know how the numbers work. Now again, the only reason these ones are different is because my roommate wanted to use them as a server. Originally I made it just for Gmod, but he had me switch it back because he didn't want to run the Gmod server on his own. But anyway, so how to get here is pretty simple. It's going to be different. Yours is not going to look like mine. So you go to basic setup. Obviously I'm going to block out all of this information so you guys can't see it, but because it has my password and whatever in it. So, but then you just go to firewall, and you go to virtual server, and then you go and you're there. So it's going to look similar to this. It's going to have something along description, inbound port, type, private IP address, local port. Now, yours might be easier, yours might be more difficult. Just remember, you can't have multiple of the same port. You can't have it. If I try to type this in, it'll say invalid port because there's already one in existence. So mine, I have to delete this and then reopen it if I want this port with a different IP address. Yours might just have it editable. Mine does not allow that, so mine stinks. I'm going to get a better one when I move. But that's how you port forward. These work. All of them work. This one's TCP because for whatever reason it doesn't matter. Starbound kind of does it on its own through the through this Steam. So Steam helps with that. But there's not much else you have to do. There's like firewall settings you have to worry about. Like where I used to live, it was the router's fault that it wouldn't work. If this does not work immediately, the port forward, and you do this, if you do all this correctly, which is really simple, you just take this number right here, your IPv4 address, you put it here, you make sure this is on both, you make sure the inbound port is correct, and the local port is correct. If all that's done and it's still not working, there is either something wrong with your program, your server, or your router. That's it. It's not this. Nothing else wrong with this. I spent 2 days, like hours and hours each day, trying to figure out why mine wouldn't work where I used to live. It was because the router was messed up and it wouldn't allow incoming information. So everyone's seen the server, but they couldn't connect to it. And I thought it was because I didn't port forward it correctly. So I spent days trying to figure it out, just searching and searching and searching. And then when I moved and I didn't change anything, it worked. I had this up and running in 5 minutes. All I did was port forward it and connect, and that's it. So that's all you need, is you need your IP address and your port. And then put this on both. That's it. Like, this number is the same as this number. This number might change if you change the connector to the router. If you're connected directly to the router, this number will be the same. But if you have it connected via Wi-Fi, it might shift between this number being anywhere between a 0 to like a 7, depending on how many things you have connecting to your router. So it's non-dynamic. You can have it set to dynamic, but that would be a completely different thing. So if you want to do that, then you put in that number instead. Those are for like solid servers that you never want it to change. But mine's kind of a casual thing. I can just check again because it's really easy. And mine doesn't really change because mine's plugged directly into the router. But anyway, that's it. That's all you need to know to port forward. I know I went a little convoluted in there, but again, this is just a simple little thing for you guys, because it's so convoluted online when you're trying to look it up. It's like, just do this, and there's no visuals. And the ones that are visual are they tell you like 20 different things because they're trying to get all the information out. And it's not 20 things. It's 2 things. You get this number and you put it here. And then whatever your program uses, Terraria uses 7777, Minecraft uses 25565, Gmod uses this number, and Starbound uses this number. That's all you need. You just plug it in. And if something else is wrong, it's all troubleshooting. That's a problem with your router, your server, or something else. It's not because of the port forwarding. Port forwarding is done. That's all you need. I don't have anything else. And it might not be called virtual server. It might be called port forwarding. Port trigger is something else. It might be because of your firewall settings that it's not working. So you have to make sure that that's not the issue. Like, you just Google whatever error message it gives you, like, we cannot connect to server or we cannot see server. They're different. One means that you're not projecting the server. One is you're projecting the server, but we can't get to it for some reason. So you Google that. Google whatever issue you have, and then you'll be fine. But this is fine. This is what yours thing should technically look like. Yours is going to have a different thing up here, and this might look different. But this is going to be a very similar concept, because it's going to ask you for a description, it's going to ask you for the inbound and the local ports, it's going to ask you what type it wants, and it's going to ask you for the private IP address. So it's going to look like this, just different colors and maybe a different format. But that's it. That's all you need, and I hope this is clear, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make this as clear as possible. This right here is what port forwarding is. Everything else that might go wrong, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong, there's a lot of different technical formats you can have this in, different routers, different internet providers, different programs that you might be trying to port forward. I mean, these are obviously games. You might be trying to open some kind of other server. But this is what port forwarding looks like. There is no other complication besides problems. So if somebody tries to tell you, you got to do this to port forward, but it's not this, then they're trying to tell you how to troubleshoot port forwarding. All that's different. try this first. Try it with the website. Check my port forwarding. There's 2 or 3 websites that do it for you. Open the server you're trying to use. It's got to be open for this test to work because it has to grab it. So open your Minecraft server and have it look like this, except this number is going to be different. And then type in your IP address, which might not be this. You just Google what is my IP. It's going to be the top number on it, and you're done. That you give them that number. It might actually automatically fill it in for you. Some of them do that. And type in this number, 25565 or 77, whatever program you opened up that has the port forwarding in it. And what they'll do is they'll check it for you. Actually, here, let me set it up for you, and I'll show you real quick. Okay, I'm back. I just went to yougetsignal.com. Just test my IP address. This is my IP address. I might blank that out. I don't know. Now, this won't work if I click this button because I don't have any of my servers open. I don't have Gmod opened. I don't have Minecraft open. I don't have Terraria because that's bad to do when you're in a video. But you type in whatever your address is here, whatever the port is here, having whatever server it is, and you just click the check button. Now, it's not going to work. It's going to say closed, but it's not going to work. But this will say is open when it is working. But if it doesn't say it's opened or it says there's an error, that means that your port forwarding worked, but there's an error somewhere else. If it says closed, that means that you don't have the thing projecting. So maybe your port forwarding is not working. Maybe the program you think has that particular port number is wrong. Like I accidentally typed in 25556 instead of 25565. That would mean that you did it wrong. You typed in the wrong port number. So double check all that. But if it says closed, that means it's not projecting. That means either your port forwarding is wrong or the program you're using isn't projecting its thing properly. If it says there's an error, that means your port forwarding is correct, but there's something else wrong. Either your router, your firewall, or something wrong with the program itself. Like it's projecting, but you're not allowed to connect to it. Kind of like when you have a server that's full and no one else can join it, that might say error on it. It's like, I'm trying to connect to it, but I can't. There's something blocking me. So this is what it's going to look like, except it's going to say, and if it says open, then you're gold. Then all you have to do is give the people this number, and they should be able to connect. If there's another problem, then that might be on their end, not on your end. It might be that they're running a different version of Minecraft or a different version of Gmod. That might also be it might not be your fault. I had that issue before as well. I can't connect to your thing. Like, do you have everything that I have downloaded? No. Well, do that. It's not on my fault. I'm not going to reconfigure my stuff because I can't. You also have to make sure that you are running the same versions. If you're not running the same versions, there might be a conflicting thing where it shuts down or it doesn't work or whatever. But this is, I might just leave my IP address up there. I don't care. What you need to do is you do the port forwarding. You do the test if you want. You don't have to, but you probably should. And what you're going to do is when you're doing your little port forwarding thing, as soon as you port forward it, go to one of these websites, check it, open your server, check it, see if it says open. If it doesn't, change it a little bit, like change the last number of your IP thing to, like, you might have typed a 3 instead of a 4 by mistake, kind of thing. You just have to make sure that it's right. I had to do it 3 times because I thought my, what was it? I thought the number I was supposed to put in was this mask number the first time I did it, subnet mask. So obviously my port forwarding didn't work. Then I tried the default gateway. Hey, I'm supposed to type in the number that's right here. I mean, it's really similar to this one up here. So I tried to type into this one, and it didn't work, obviously. So it's this one up here, this IPv4 address, not your default gateway, not your subnet mask. It's this one. You type this into your port forwarding, and it should work. So you gotta check it. You gotta make sure you got it. It's not IPv6. Don't touch any of that. Nothing up here is good. It's all this bottom stuff. It's not gonna say open because I don't have my server open. I don't want to open it because then I'll have this giant thing in the background, and if you guys want to see that, that's fine. I can do that. But all of it works when I set it up. I've been playing Minecraft on a server for a long time. I play it on Gmod servers. I have the Terraria server. I have the Starbound server. My friend is playing Starbound right now. That's why I wanted to make this video, because he doesn't necessarily want to right now, but he did before want to show me something in Starbound. So to do that, he has to open his own server. I can't open it and then him show me, because Starbound doesn't work that way. I have to go into his game, not him going into mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show him this video, and hopefully it will help him. That's why I made this video. So I hope the visuals helped. I hope the explanation, though it did get a little repetitive, that's how I try to teach people, is through a little bit of repetition. So this is the video. This is how it's done. This is how to test it, and that's it. I hope this helps, and peace.